Okay, so can you hear me well? So hello, everybody. We're very glad to meet you all today at this wonderful event.
Hey, so can you hear me well?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So hello, everybody. We're very glad to meet you all today at this wonderful event. So can you hear me well?
Oh, sorry, it was my something went wrong with my YouTube. Anyways, I'm very happy to meet you all today at this wonderful event that we at Jina AI would like to dedicate to women in tech. Jina AI is an open source company that cares about diversity. We want to live in a gender equal world, a world free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination, a world where is diversity, the world is where is that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive, and a world where difference is valued and celebrated. I'm thrilled that our guest speakers share the same ideas with us and agreed to join our event. I'm very happy to introduce you our first speaker, Leslie Lee. Just a second, sorry. So I'm very happy to introduce you our first speaker, Leslie. Leslie, could you please give us a quick introduction of yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Leslie. Normally, I'm based in Berlin. So I'm a founder of a Fintech startup in the space of sustainable investment, really with the mission to enable people to start investing sustainably. We call it as simple as shopping on Amazon. So my background is in finance. So since 2008, I actually joined JP Morgan the day Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. But I'm not going to spoil my story. I'm going to share a couple of my stories with you all. And then the title will be The Power of the Leap of Faith. But later on, then we can hear a bit more about my story. Welcome any questions, interactions, feedback. We'd love to hear you all.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Now let's welcome Dr. Roshana Kramer, an AI research scientist. Dr. Roshana, are you here?
I think she said she had to wrap up a meeting in the chat.
Yeah, but then she texted me that she's ready to join. But okay, we can skip her and go to and welcome our next speaker, Ebtihel Aouni, an AI research engineer. Ebtihel, would you like to say some introduction words?
Sure. So as you said, my name is Ebtihel. Originally from Tunisia. This is it. And I've been in Berlin from 2020. I worked at first a data science intern at Biosystem in Berlin, and then as I got my master degree in industrial computer science and automation, I started my journey in discovering AI, working more on AI challenges. So yeah, that's like a very quick introduction about me. Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and yeah, I'm open to any questions, and yeah, looking forward to my talk.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, please welcome Oidia Ojepalino. Oidia is a data scientist. Would you like to say some words?
Hi, everyone. My name is Oidia, and I'm based in Barcelona, in Spain, in this very sunny weather, but today it's not really sunny, to be honest. I'm a data scientist, but my background is in business, focused in finance and also logistics. And well, I will be explaining a little bit the importance of having Black women in our teams.
Thank you so much. Now, please welcome Jyoti. Jyoti is a developer relations specialist at Jina AI. Jyoti, would you like to say some introduction words?
Hi guys, I'm really glad to be here, and of course, this event is made special with all the amazing speakers. Plus, there is Cafe mentees over here with us, which makes it really, really special because these are some really talented young women in tech, and I think their opinions and their participation today will bring out the best of today's session. So yeah, I'm really glad to be here.
Now, let me quickly go through agenda. First, our developer relations lead, Alex CG, will give us a short introduction about Jina. And then Leslie will present a talk, The Power of Leap of Faith. Next, Roshanak will give us a talk, Can AI Make Us Smarter Than Cancer? Very excited to know the answer, to be honest. Ibtihel will tell us about why is tech is still male-dominated. Audia will share with us the importance of diversity and inclusive of Black women. Last but not least, Jyoti will present a talk about what can we do now. After that, we will have a networking session where we would like to hear more about you and your thoughts on the topics we included in today's event. After the event, you will receive a questionnaire. I would strongly encourage you to participate in it. Your feedback is very important for us, and with every event, we just want to be better and better. So please take 5 minutes of your time and participate in our event, in our questionnaire, sorry. And now, please welcome our first speaker, Leslie. Leslie, the stage is yours.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Is that do you want to do the Jina AI introduction first?
Exactly, but Alex, are you ready to present?
I'm ready to go. If someone else wants to go first, more than welcome. Okay, good stuff. So yeah, thanks everyone for rocking up today. I'm going to give a quick overview of who we are at Jina AI and what we're doing. So yeah, I'm Alex CG. I'm the developer relations lead at Jina. So in short, the engineers do all the hard work and we make all their work look glamorous to the community. So we're the ones who get programmers outside of Jina wanting to use our cool stuff. I've been in open source for ages, usually based in Berlin. My socials are just there. Okay, so Jina is a startup in Berlin. We've got a team all around the world. We focus on, our main stuff is neural search. We work in Python. It was founded by the same creator as BERT as a service and Fashion MNIST. So if you're in data science, you probably know about those. All the good stuff is at get.jina.ai. Yeah, we have a whole suite of products for everything you need for neural search, all open source. Yeah, next slide. Sophia, shall I share my screen? It might be quicker.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Give me 1 second. I'll find my tab and we can get going. Okay, we can all see this, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I made a few changes, but all of this will be pretty quick. So if we get time, I'm going to bounce into what neural search is, and content warning, there are some cute and not so cute animals ahead. And when I say not so cute, I mean it. So be warned. Blah, blah, done all that. So what the hell is neural search? Or what the flip is neural search? So before we ask that, what the flip is search to begin with. So when most people think of search, they think of a search box like on LinkedIn or Twitter or Yahoo, or there's this other search engine some people use. And yeah, a pretty normal use case is App Store. You search for keywords, you get apps back. But another use case that most people don't think about is chatbots. You type in a phrase, a question, and it finds a similar answer. Or another case of similarity search is, let's say you have a library of machine learning PDF papers, and you have another paper, you want to find similar papers. So you upload it to the library and the library returns similar matches. So again, similarity search. You can do the same with music or audio, kind of like Shazam. Upload a Beyonce song, get Beyonce songs or Destiny's Child songs back. Video, images, let's say you want to start the next Amazon, and your customer can upload a picture of their favorite sneakers and find similar sneakers in the store. And as for how neural search actually works, I think my slides are in a weird order here, but let's look at some pictures. And this kind of explains similarity search in a nutshell. So yeah, we've got a whole bunch of cute animals here. And what can we see from them? They're all cute, and they're kitties and puppies. So not much data to work with. Cute is even across the board. And what better thing to do with cute animals than to mix them up with math and put them on a graph? There, we've got cats and dogs. Like I said, all equally cute. So it's pretty much one-dimensional. And we've got some other critters. I have been rest assured that these are cats and dogs, though you wouldn't know it to look at them. So now we've got another axis to work with, We've got and and cat and dog. So we can plot them two-dimensionally this time. And this is something, we just kind of do it. We're not actually thinking, is this a cat? Is this a, well, okay, maybe we are with some of the ones up top. But generally it happens on automatic. A few useful words here. If you're in data science, you may already know them. So we've got dimensions, cute and scary, or cat and dog. We've got embeddings, the point on a graph where a piece of data fits. We've got two coordinates since it's a two-dimensional graph. And we can think of the whole thing as the index. Now, when we get a new piece of data, we want to find something similar in our index, in our database, as it were. So we look at this and think, where would this cute little snowball puppy fit? And yeah, it's pretty blindingly obvious, I know. So yeah, right here, right by all the other puppies. And we found the closest match. We did a similarity search. We did it because we've been trained on pictures of cats and dogs since we were growing up. Photos, cartoons, the noises they make, CAT, DOG, whatever it may be in your language. We are trained on this. We understand puppies. We understand kittens. This is natural to us. We build a mental model and we embed the pictures into it, or the sounds, or the words. You get the picture. So yeah, a neural network model is very similar to your brain. It is a blank slate at first, and then it's trained on all these different pieces of data. And yeah, it basically has digital neurons similar to your carbon-based neurons. So it's like the lump of meat in your head, but in silicon. In reality, it's not really a two-dimensional graph. A lot of these models are looking at hundreds of different dimensions, doing things like feature detection, looking at how sharp the teeth are, how floppy the ears are, and maybe a whole bunch of other stuff that we don't know because these are somewhat black boxes. If you explain how you know a dog is a dog, that's kind of difficult. It's locked in there somewhere, but you can't always put it into words. Or how you know salty is salty and sweet is sweet. And it's kind of like that, in my view, with a lot of these models. They do the job, but we don't always understand how, and it's difficult for them to explain themselves. So yeah, neural search is essentially search plus these neural networks, the digital brains that do the processing. And in short, it's similarity search in the case of Jina. Put in piece of data A, find pieces of similar data B, C, D, and E. And I don't know if this falls under the cute animals or the scary animals, maybe a bit of both. So neural search can search, well, if there's a deep neural network model out there that can process the information, neural search can search it. So at Jina, we've been working with text, images, audio, video, 3D meshes, proteins. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that's already existing, already open source, and quite easy to integrate. And the advantages of neural search versus traditional search. let's say you've got your online shopfront selling clothes and you search for red sneakers and pictures of red sneakers come up. Great. What if you search for scarlet trainers or vermilion shoes? Well, those don't contain the keyword red sneakers. So maybe nothing will come up if you're just looking at keywords. But because these neural networks are similar to brains, they understand the connection between vermilion, red, scarlet, trainers, shoes, sneakers. So they look at the semantics, the actual meaning, not just the words, or in the case of images, the pixels. They're looking at higher level information. Traditionally, it's been a challenge to actually get these things working in the wild, because if you've worked with data science and machine learning, things move fast, libraries break and have compatibility issues. If one of my modules is running, I'm bad at versioning, but TensorFlow 1.1, and one of them is running TensorFlow 2.2, and getting them to work together, not always simple. And that's what Jina tries to solve. So yada, yada, meaningless corporate spiel, open source neural search ecosystem, search for any kind of data, things like that. So DocArray is our most simple thing, a data structure for unstructured data. And by unstructured data, I mean free-form text or images or videos, something you can't really just slam into a table or a data frame. And that helps you prototype locally. You can, with DocArray, you can actually see the embeddings on the graph. And I hope this video is going to load because it looks cool. And the demo effect pops up once again. And my slides are wonky. Fine-tuner lets you improve your model to get better performance in your domain. Because if you have a general image recognition model, it'll recognize similar t-shirts to your t-shirt, and it'll recognize similar lung x-rays to your lung x-ray, but it won't be specialized in any particular thing. So fine-tuner lets you specialize it to get better results. And my slides are weird today. This is an example. This is the before and after of running fine-tuner. So given this is a source image, before fine-tuning, it matched this. You can kind of see, yeah, we've got the curvy hair, we've got eyes, but after fine-tuning, it did a much better job, and so on and so forth. You can scale and deploy to the cloud using Jina Core or Jina Search. So open up a RESTful interface, spin it up, deploy it on Kubernetes, wherever you need to. And with Hub, like all the demos I built using Jina, I didn't write any machine learning code or deep learning code or manually integrate anything. Because with Jina Hub, with one line of code, you can integrate all the cutting edge models into your system. Things like Clip for image and text, transformers for text, all the good stuff. So yeah, you can build a neural search engine with a few lines of code, fine tune it, scale it up, do it with minimal code. A lot of my examples are under 100 lines of code. And yeah, you get an AI-powered search engine for any kind of data. Well, I mean, if you want to search for images, video, audio, text, if you want to search for love, I don't think there's a model out there yet, but yeah, for most things you would want to search for, Jina can help you do it. If you want to learn more, learn.jina.ai and docs.jina.ai are good places to start. And yeah, our usual places to get in touch. So yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope I didn't take up too much time and scare anyone away with weird animals. But yeah, I'll hand it back to Sophia and we'll continue the party.
Thank you so much, Alex, for your presentation. Are there any questions from the audience? Please raise your hand if you would like to ask a question. And now I think we can proceed with Leslie Lee. Leslie, the stage is yours.
Great, fantastic. So I don't have any slides, so we can just free talk. So I'll start with a couple of stories. Start when I was 16. So when I was 16, I moved from China to the UK for high school. And at the time that my parents actually gave me all of their life savings. because they hoped that by going to the UK, I would have the possibility of having a successful life with options that I would not have in China. But there wasn't enough money for all of us to move, so it was just me. I didn't really speak any English at the time, but as soon as I arrived in the UK, I got my first job in a big insurance company as a cleaning girl, right? But there's one good thing that came out working as a cleaner in my spare time from school was that, hey, sitting in lectures and studying in libraries, that is cool. That became one of my favorite things to do. So that's how I started my new life in the UK. I didn't really know that where the path was going, but I knew one thing at a time. You know what? I had to succeed because I want to make it to a good university and have a good paid job so that my parents would be proud of me. And at that time, I was 16 years old, and that was my definition of success. And years later, I was actually lucky enough to graduate from the University of Cambridge, and I received a job offer from JP Morgan. And I thought, hey, you know what? I made it. And that, you know, that is the story of my parents' leap of faith. And that's how things started. And then the story goes on. That was the 2008, 15th of September. I don't know how many of you remember that day, but that was the day Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. So that was the biggest bankruptcy in the whole US history. The global financial market was literally in a meltdown. And that was the first day of my banking career. Then I spent the next 10 years, what I did was to climb the career ladder, and I moved to a new bank every 3 years, because moving around in banking is the best way to get promoted and pay rise. I didn't tell you that. Like the rest of that industry, I was driven by money, but nothing else. Then in 2014, something happened because my daughter was born. And all of a sudden, they made me think, hey, something is different here. I started wondering, well, what does success actually mean? What is the purpose of a career? And is that the kind of future that I want my daughter to live in? Then by the time I was already in banking for 10 years, I started reflecting back from my experience. Having lived through this financial crisis, and since the biggest, most serious financial crisis since the Great Depression, then I realized it's an industry, unfortunately, it has a lot of pitfalls. The biggest one being the short-term mindset. And the short-term mindset from an industry, that's actually something drove the credit crisis to the mis-selling scandals that you probably heard of, to a lot of market manipulation behavior. And I thought, you know what? Look at who are the victims here? The victims are the disadvantaged group, the people who are underserved and who have no idea about finance. And that short-termism is really one of the major sources when it comes to financial inequality. I wonder whether it's surprising to you that financial services is actually one of the least trusted industry. And that was the time it came to me, so something has to change. And who is making that change? Somebody has to do that. And I began to think, right, number one, it was pretty obvious the knowledge part is missing. I was fortunate that my parents, they took that leap of faith in me. So I got that education that I needed to change my life. But millions of people out there, they don't really have that chance. And there's another thing, it's not obvious for the financial industry, is that how the information is communicated, that is different. And there's a third element, is that the industry doesn't understand the connection between finance and people. What do people care about? There's the emotions and feelings that people care about. Then I thought, okay, the dots are starting to connect in my head. People don't really earn money for the sake of it, right? People earn money for to build a future they want to live in. That is, we're talking about the planet, a healthy planet and an equal society. But if you think about the definition of sustainability, that's exactly that. It's talking about environmental sustainability, the social, the economic sustainability, and the role of finance should be really there to empower people to take charge of that own sustainable future. And I thought, you know what? That is something I would be really excited to get up on a Monday morning for. At the time, I was still working in banking, and I thought, you know what? That is my chance to take that leap of faith after my 22 years after my parents took theirs. So I quit my job in 2019. My parents thought, hey, we didn't invest all my savings in you just for you to be unemployed. And my colleagues thought I was crazy. But I thought, okay, this is one chance that I could do. I have no idea what I was doing. That was the truth. All I had was just a dream and a blurry idea. And that was the end of 2019. Some lucky people might be born entrepreneurs, but that is definitely not me. The first 6 months of my entrepreneurial journey was not romantic. Coming from banking, that means to me that, right, I was trained to be a perfectionist. I had no idea what an MVP was, a minimum viable product. And as a new entrepreneur, I call myself, now looking back, a theoretical entrepreneur. What I did was that I read lots of books about entrepreneurship, about Fintech. I went to all sorts of conferences. I made a beautiful pitch deck with a big mission and a vision. I did everything that was sounding right to me at the time, except one thing: building something, making anything, something that I can engage with real users and to find out about their real pain point. So that 6 months passed, nothing was really achieved. I would have thought, okay, that was one of the lowest points of my startup journey so far. But I was optimistic. I pushed on. And at some point, I've got two crazy co-founders join my journey. And that was the time that, okay, we got accepted into an incubator program from Porsche Digital. And that was the time that we were pushed to make something. And we started learning that, you know what? No is actually a good thing. It doesn't mean failure. It means this is your chance to improve, your potential for the improvement. And from then on, luck started to follow us. After 6 months of building our MVP, cycle after cycle, then we got into the Fintech for Impact Challenge, organized by Visa, where we presented our solution to 13 German banks, and we came out to be the champion. We had this idea of in building something as simple as shopping on Amazon so that people can start investing their money in a sustainable way. Then we got selected as Germany's top 3 impact startups by Getting the Ring. And then we got our first B2B client, and we closed our first funding round. So that is a bit of a story starting when I was 16. It's very important to see that luck follows doers, not really daydreamers. But if you think about, right, coming back to the question, what does success really mean, right? What is the definition of success? Is it fame? Is it money? But then I got this inspiration from this kids game, the dominoes kids game. One thing you probably don't know about the dominoes is that a domino brick, it can knock over another domino brick about 1.5 times bigger than itself. That means that if you have a chain of dominoes, you can have a powerful chain reaction. But starting with a tiny push, the tiniest domino at the very start. And I wondered whether that is the definition of success. Well, with that, I want to leave you with with a formula with 4 words. The first word is be curious. Always be curious. I want you to think about how your knowledge and your experience could solve a problem in a society and make things a little bit better for the people around you. But what is so important that you're passionate about it, something you're passionate about getting up on a Monday morning for example. Well, once you've found that passion, the second word I want to give you is to be courageous. You want to just do it, and you want to find the joy, the happiness of doing it. But if you choose to do it, there's a third word I would like to give you. You want to be obsessed. If you are not being obsessed, you can only be average. And fourthly, being an entrepreneur, doing anything, all you need is persistency. You want to be persistent. Because you only really fail when you stop trying. And that's the story that, well, all of that, you can only start with a little bit of a leap of faith to achieve whatever you want to achieve, the impact you would like to achieve in the future. So that's my story. More than happy to hear your feedback. If you have any questions, shoot over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leslie. It was, wow, really inspiring story. And I feel most of us already doing something, so please keep doing. And I believe with the passion, we can achieve more than what we have now. Thank you so much, Leslie. Now I would like to give a stage to Roshana, who will give us a talk about can AI make us smarter than cancer? Please, Roshana.
Thank you, Sophia. And well done, Lily. You're amazing. So should I start? Should I share my screen now, Sophia? Thank you. This is
Yes,
great.
please go ahead.
Let me start sharing. Can you see? Okay, can you? I think it's not sharing yet. Yeah, not yet. Can you see my screen and can you hear me well?
We can hear you well, and I think we can see your screen now.
And my screen?
Yes,
Okay.
we can see your screen.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi, everyone, and welcome to my talk. I'm going to talk about an important topic, which is very important for me. I hope it is for you guys as well. I'll talk about in general about can AI make us smarter than cancer? A bit of warning, I wouldn't be able to cover all the topics in this field in 10 to 20 minutes. So I highly recommend that if you have any question, please put it in the chat box and I would be more than happy to reply at the end of my presentation or whenever the team let me to answer your questions. Okay, so a bit about myself. My full name is Roshanak Rahmat. I'm an AI research scientist. I'm specialized in computer vision and image processing. Currently, I'm working at a medical tech company and trying to help medics with AI. I also put some of my specializations in this slide in different colors. So the reason I put it that if you have any question in these fields, I would be more than happy to help. And if you'd like to see my previous projects and what I've done before, you can go to my website that is at the bottom of the slide. Awesome. Let's see, what are we going to talk about today? I'm going to make an introduction about how AI is revolutionizing cancer treatment. We should know, and also a question that we're going to talk about and learn about is, would artificial intelligence help human to get a better knowledge about cancer? What do you think? My answer, what I think is yes. And to tell you why I think it's yes, so let's go through these slides. Let's look at this picture first. I tried to show how different we human are from each other. The differences we can see that we have in the matter of gender, race, skin color, we have the environment that we live and how it's impacting us. And also, sometimes we hear that some people from a specific region of the world, they suffer more or less from a specific type of disease. So this shows us that how the demographics of the demographics information that we have is impacting our health. And but so each one of us, if we have a different race, we live different, so our health would be impacted differently. But when it comes to medicine, when it comes to treatment, in general, we look at the whole population based rather than looking at each individual. And if you look at this figure, we can see from this figure that although people are different, as we discussed in the previous slide, but they all go through the same treatment as soon as medics, they classify them for a specific disease. And the truth is they get different responses from the same treatment. I mean, due to our differences, we can expect that the treatment has different outcomes for different individuals. But how if we are able to study each individual better, and with respect to their differences, we provide a specialized treatment for them? And instead of seeing no effect or even adverse cases, we can maximize the treatment for everyone. So this brings us to the concept of personalized medicine. What is personalized medicine? Personalized medicine, which is sometimes called precision medicine, also a stratified medicine, P4 medicine, is a medical model that separates people into different groups with medical decisions, practices, interventions, and products being tailored to the individual patient based on their predicted response or risk of disease. So, personalized medicine can be used in different healthcare services, such as prevention, diagnosis, treatment. In prevention, we are targeting early detection of disease in patients at risk and improving preventive measures. In diagnosis, an accurate disease diagnosis is modeled for enabling individualized treatment strategy. And in treatment, personalized medicine is improving the outcomes of treatment through targeted treatments and reduced side effects. Now, let's see what are the benefits of personalized medicine. So we understood what is personalized medicine. And we know like the purpose of that. And now let's see if we do that, what would be the benefits? The first, I'd say, it would reduce trial and error based treatment decisions. It would bring down the burdens associated with the condition, both in terms of health and finance. Patient-centric medication is done through the integration of multimodal data from an individual. More emphasis would be laid on preventive mode rather than the reactive mode in medicine, and reduction in time, cost associated with clinical trials, any pharmaceutical costs, and the um, cost comes with it would be reduced. Okay, now let's see how can AI help us in with this problem. AI has been explored and advanced in many fields. In medicine, also, there has been many different improvement with AI. But what we hope, really, what we hope that AI being used to help physicians identify and choose the right drugs, treatments for the right patients. With AI, we can make many medical related problems personalized. AI and big data can combine different information to improve the treatment. For example, for a medical doctor during radiotherapy, they only look at the specific sources of data. For like mostly they look at the imaging scans. But if we look at this figure, we can see the amount of information we can obtain from an individual regarding their health comes from many different sources. So regardless of gathering the data, understanding them and putting them together is a very challenging task for us, the humans. Now, let's think how if we merge all of this information that we said is difficult to gather them and to put them together, but we know like we have all this data and they're available, so we can by merging them we can obtain from an individual the information that leads us to the personalized diagnosis or medicine. For example, patients' genome data, their demographics, their medical history, the imaging scans, their lab tests, all of them together. Then we are able to go towards personalized medicine if we can merge all of this data together, or at least some of them together, because we would understand the patients better. So merging data is difficult for us as human, as I said, but AI can change the future of medical treatment as it has the ability to find the patterns among all these different type of data together. And this is the pattern that we are looking for to find out the right decision to make for that specific patient. So now let's look at the benefits and challenges of AI. As for benefits, I'd say that there is a scope of applying the algorithms of AI, machine learning in general, to the genomic data set so far, which would enable the delivery of personalized medicine better. The use of multimodal data helps in deeper analysis of large data sets, which improves the understanding of human health and disease by leaps and bounds. As machine learning is capable of identifying the hidden patterns of data, many future diseases can be prevented, and AI would reduce the burden on the healthcare systems, healthcare providers, on, for example, screening of various disease such as lung cancer, COVID, heart disease, and diseases, and so on. As for the challenges, I can say that the first would be the optimization of the application is required. And also the knowledge base of the stakeholders would involve physicians, laboratory technicians, data analysts, programmers, paramedical staff. So they have to increase their knowledge, all of them. So everyone needs to have a basic understanding of the concerned domains. Okay, so here there are different ways to tackle medical problems using machine learning. As we know, lots of the simplest way to tell you, like using classification, regression, clustering, and even reinforcement learning in recent years. And some of the Python libraries and sorry, just before to go to this one, and all of them, they've been investigated, all the previous machine learning approaches that I said in healthcare. But in personalized medicine, they have been limited progress, but still they are, that I tell you about them now. So some of the Python libraries that currently people are using them to help personalizing medicine is some of the basic ones like scikit-learn, sorry. So scikit-learn, I'm sure lots of you know about it. Just to remind you, it's one of the most important tools of machine learning, which has various estimators and predictors which are imported to model a particular data set. The other one, which is PyGeno, is a Python package that pertains to precision medicine applications with a special focus on genomics. It is easy to use and has highly efficient memory. So it has a fast framework that allows users to easily explore subject-specific genomes. An even more specific package was developed by Google, which is called DeepVariant. So DeepVariant is an analysis pipeline that uses a deep neural network to call genetic variants from next generation DNA sequencing data. I hope I was clear when I was talking about combining, merging different type of data which are available for a human. If I wasn't, so I would show you two simple examples next that it might give you better understanding of this importance of this merging data that I was talking about. So let's look at this example. Let's say one of you know me. So if you look at my picture, you can recognize that this is Roshanak. If I call you, you're not seeing me, I call you from an unknown number. By hearing my voice, you can still recognize it's me. So how if like you just see me and I cut the call, let's say my voice is different, but your brain is still compatible of detecting me because although one of the source of information is missing, or it's, let's say, noisy, or it's corrupted. So our human is able to improve, let's say, this, for example, if we call it a classification task, and does this as good as like before, although if one of these sources of information is missing. But when it comes to AI, it's difficult, it's challenging. And the reason for that, because these different source of data are different. They come from different sources, they are from different format, and that's difficult. But of course, AI is, with the hope of doing that, we can improve the quality of detection and finding the pattern. And that's why, in case, if, let's say, if someone has a cancer and their, let's say, blood test is not showing it, but let's say their CT scan, their image scans is showing it. So AI would be able to find that. Or maybe if there is a pattern, but it's vague, putting these vague patterns together would improve the quality of this detection, or let's say the classification tasks that we want to do. I have done very nice research at my previous role in combining the CT images with the patient's demographic information to detect, for the purpose of early detection of lung cancer 10 years prior that they get cancer. So it was a really nice work. I really had challenges in merging that data together in the same network that I designed. And the pattern of this information were very weak, but putting them together was improving the quality. I haven't published those the work that just now I talked about this topic. So I decided to not put it in this presentation. But if you have any question, if you're in this field and you need my help, please reach out to me, and I would be more than happy to tell you what I know. And also the last slide, which is the another example I wanted to show you that I found in the when I was doing the literature review is when we apply the model that combines the classifications from the race. This is very simple, but we can see like putting these different two types of data, although they are still both image data, but they are very different, and combining them is very different. And putting them together would improve this prediction tasks that they were doing. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I'm happy to answer if any question you have, either now or later.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It was very, very informative. Yeah, and we got some of the nice feedback on our comment section. Thank you so much for your engagement. Now I would like to give a stage to our next speaker, Ibtihal. We all would like to know, why is tech still male-dominated world? So please, would you explain us why?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay, now it's working. So yeah, I'm going to start. As a global investor-owned tech network, we had to promote gender diversity in tech and connect talent and skilled people. And that value diversity and inclusion and strive to create a culture of belongings. And talking with them, we got to learn more about their stories, why they, and even now we still talk about like tech that is too male dominated. So I'm going to share my screen. Hope that you can see it.
Oh, not yet. Yes, now we can.
How about now?
Yeah, it worked.
Okay. I'm facing a problem with my mouse. Okay, now we're good. So to talk about this, I want to go back to the history of tech, the history of computing history, let's say. That are in tech, and we still talk about male-dominated field. So for a good portion of computing history from its earliest inception, women played a significant role, but today we're rarely showing images of women in the field, despite that they're playing more and more important roles. And if we dig deeper into data and evidence to understand the drives of this, many myths and misperceptions around women's participation in STEM. For example, for decades, media has made women feel like STEM isn't the field for them. That stereotype of the women that we create for these positions and say, okay, it's not for me. And also media portrayed an image of the people in this field that made us think it's not maybe attractive for us or interesting for us. So I remember that this happened for me, actually. I remember when I told my mom that I'm going to pursue engineer. Eventually, that was something that I was talking about from my childhood. But I think she assumed that I would have maybe that it's maybe similar to my sister. She's a doctor, she's a dermatologist, and she thought that maybe this fits women better. And I remember when I told her that, Mom, I'm going to become an engineer, I think what she heard is like, Mom, I'm becoming a male. And it's pretty ironic, but this is actually about our main culture. It tells us like only men can be defined as geniuses. We are maybe and not to be smart, let's say. So and let's say, okay, technology is my thing, is what lights me up, lightsify me, and we're good. So I'm into pursuing a career in tech. I have my degree, but you got rejected from jobs, and they say that you are not culture fits. I mean, like, if we encode this, it means like our male employees are not able maybe to socialize or collaborate with women. So this maybe is happening more in the past, because even that you got a job in tech, we still struggle to gain respect at work. For years, we thought that the only way to get any real respect is maybe to roll in as a male, maybe to be strong, sometimes authoritative, a know-it-all, in order for people to take us seriously. So women actually need to behave in masculine ways to be seen as competent, but also are expected to be feminine. And it's like walking a tightrope, I would say. So you need to be too masculine to be seen as competent, and you need to be too feminine to be, let's say, likable. So we are focusing on this rather than focusing on bringing our strengths to the table, defend them, and how important our presence by our success, actually. I would say that this is maybe one of the quiet challenges that we face in the daily basis. At times, for minorities, resources may be lacking, opportunities for critical assignment might be not presented for us. Also, not seeing a woman that is a leader made us think, I think we don't make it to that level. So let's say a job at times, you prefer hiding behind men despite working on the same project. You let them speak about it, and you kind of hide in their shadow. So it's like growing underappreciated. That constant criticism, I would say, made you face that feeling of unworthiness. And even if you're highly passionate, I mean, highly motivated, you don't believe any of the credits that come along your way. We call this an imposter syndrome. No worries, it's not a disease. It's just like a syndrome to say that it's commonly faced by people. More than 70% has experienced it, let's say. One of the fantastic four associated with imposter syndrome, which is anxiety, perfectionism, maybe self-doubt, and fear of failure. I mean, like, no one likes to fail or makes mistakes, not to know the answer, struggle to master something. But when this feeling happened to someone that is having imposter syndrome, I mean, they say that they feel like they are experiencing shame. But imposter syndrome, if you think about it, it means you're out of your comfort zone. Maybe you're not comfortable enough with public speaking, or you are scared of getting embarrassed because of lack of knowledge or experience, let's say. But actually, it's a good thing. I mean, congratulations, you're growing. And the moment you understand that, you start exposing yourself to more and more opportunities to feel more like an imposter. We just need to reverse that perception of it to something you're seeking out. Martin Luther King once said, only when can you see the stars. So only when you're not comfortable enough, you become more confident. And that way, I would say that if you want to stop feeling like an imposter, you need to stop thinking like one, and then having an imposter life, you're having maybe imposter moments, and it's just okay. So now you know what interests you, you follow with your curiosity, and you're trying to gain respect at work, and not much facing that imposter syndrome. But work-life balance and maternal wall. I mean, when you are a professional woman that have children, they often find themselves running into a wall, their skills, their commitment, and become, let's say, questioned, and the opportunities, you feel like they are drying up. So I mean, for me, it's so weird because instead of appreciating the multitasking ability of women, we are underestimating and under her power. I'm sorry. Okay, so I didn't want to, without mentioning the very common idea about women are too sensitive, and this is not professional. I mean, they think that our feminine weakness in the workplace, I mean, like, that might be a cliche, but a woman, as a woman, I mean, we are very connected emotionally as well in our lives. Bringing that emotional quality to a highly technical space is really, I think, where our gifts also shine. It's not like something or embarrass us. I mean, like, let's stop beating ourselves up and instead harness for and use that feminine power for good. So I would mention as a quick example in search engine, maybe this is a bit related to Jina, but as an AI person also, I would mention data. I mean, data is not just numbers. And for women, understanding data and interpreting that human element in it, we can see behind data people with different needs. I mean, like every click, every likes, it's about that are searching for guidance. And if you interpret that human element, it's gonna be and powerful instead of something that you might say. Now you might ask, okay, so this is why tech is too male dominated, but why is it important for women to get involved in tech? So I would answer that by saying that first, there is a lot of amazing opportunities for women that help them to have a work-life balance. We get to narrow that gender gap, I would say salary maybe, to enhance women's economic security. We ensure that we have a diverse, a very talented STEM workforce, and essentially this prevents biases in these fields, in products, in services. I mean, what gets created eventually depends on who is doing this creation. Okay, so I'm just mentioning a very quick solution. For that, it's like we need to encourage our girls to gain power, to be brave rather than just strive for perfection, because we all belong in tech. It's all about risk taken, trying new things, because you won't know it if you don't try it. And we need to move towards a more open, balanced, gender neutral conversation that makes women feel like more included, more involved in tech, and even become leaders in tech. There is a very quick video that I wanted to show that really describes how this very simple step about open, balanced session would help us and even encourage girls to get into tech, encourage them to stay in tech, because I believe that we have to look to the problem with a wider lens, so that there are many challenges in the pipeline, there are many obstacles at different stage, and we need to solve them one by one. So here's the video.
Why doesn't your husband just let you stay home? Hey, sweetie, when you got a minute, I'll get a cup of coffee. Look, he's wearing earrings. Dad, you got promoted too?
So we've only got one ladies' bathroom. It's up 3 flights of stairs. Nice dress, Sarah. Good to see you making an effort.
File that for me. That's a good girl.
Oh, great. I'm so glad there's another
We
woman
won't
here.
tiptoe around you because you're a woman. You still have to put in the same amount of work.
So I guess you'll be starting a family soon, huh?
Hey, guys, no swearing. There's a woman in the room.
I don't think this university is ready for a female
Are
president.
you sure you'll be able to handle this course? It's quite advanced. We'll do the more technical stuff, and you can take notes, okay? This work is very strong. Have you thought about applying for the Chancellor's Fellowship too?
You're so good at math and science. You have to apply to these top universities.
Have you thought about a career in engineering?
I'll help you research, and we'll put together a poster for the science
Clever girl.
all by yourself.
That's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Be the difference. Close the gender gap. Let's make the future.
Okay, so thank you so much. Yeah, hope that you enjoyed that talk. I didn't want to dig deeper into the solutions that I might think helpful, but maybe more to mention why is tech still male dominated from many perspectives. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ibtihal, for your amazing talk. It will be very good if you could share with us a link to this video, so
Absolutely.
everyone can see this. Amazing. So our next speaker is Audia, and she will tell us about the importance of diversity and inclusion of Black women.
Thank you all for being here and Jina AI for inviting me. I will try to present my screen if I can. If not, yeah. Yeah, this. I guess you can check you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So today I'm going to talk about the importance of diversity and inclusion of Black women. The thing is that what Ibtihal has already explained or well explained, it's a very good introduction to what I'm going to talk about, because it's really very related to this. And in this case, it's focused only on Black women. But of course, this can also be extrapolated to any other race. So beforehand, I want to present myself. I'm based in Barcelona, but I'm from Filipino, Nigerian. I'm a Filipino and Nigerian descendant. So this diversity has helped me in many cases to understand, firstly, not understand what was happening. But in the end, when I was growing up and after reading books and connecting with people who were more knowledgeable about race and the importance of race when you are trying to develop a career, especially a career in technology, this helped me a lot. So now I'm a data scientist and I'm working as a consultant at the Spy Societat Oberta, which is a platform that is financed by the Open Society. And I try to collaborate as much as I can with PyData's Impact Program, which is a program for people who come from underrepresented groups and that they are actually not, they don't have like a good number of representation in technology. So first of all, I would try to, in a very short way of explaining that the unrepresented and the unrepresentation of Black women and other people of color in technology comes from a structural racism. When I talk about the structural racism, means that it's not only based on computer science or in sciences, but it's something that it comes from the root, which is, I don't know, for example, it comes from our economy, from our how the governments or how even the nations have been built during these centuries. And it's something that it's so rooted in ourselves that probably we don't see it as much as we should. And I would say that structural racism, the parallelism could be near to what is feminism. And so I would say that, for example, women's struggles at the moment could be, that is something that that you cannot see it easily if you are not a woman or if you are not directly involved with women's rights, let's say. You cannot see it. And that is the same that is happening with racism. It's something that if you cannot feel it if you're not part of it, if you are not part of a underrepresented group or community. So we must acknowledge that computer science and other science, maths, and STEM studies have a sexist and racist past. We can say that there are many statistical approaches that we already as data scientists use come from people who were racist and who were doing some studies against, in order to perpetuate the white system against the others. So for example, we can usually say from computer science that we have the zeros and ones, being zeros, for example, in terms of race, people of color, and being one, white people, for example. Also, we see that people who come from non-traditional backgrounds are omitted or have to work extra in order to have the same recognition. And this is something that is very visible. And as I said, in this case, AI and machine learning must review their story and they must acknowledge that there's parts of it that has been rooted in racism and gender. And for sure, as I was saying before, this is not a problem that is technological. It's something that is social, that comes already from what we've been taught since we were really kids. And actually racism is something that we have our patterns of racism since we are 7 years old. When we are 7 years old, there's a moment where these patterns, they cannot be changed, or they are already, these patterns of racism have been already built in ourselves, being something that is of course unconscious, but I think it's something that we should acknowledge, that since we are really kids, we are receiving inputs, and many times these inputs are maybe a little bit dangerous. And of course, a little bit difficult to correct sometimes. And when, for example, this week that we are celebrating International Women's Day, I think we should not only talk about feminism, but we should talk about being having an intersectional point of view of this. This concept of intersectionality was brought out by Kimberly Crenshaw. This means taking into account intersectional feminism means that all of us, we have backgrounds, and these backgrounds are shaping us in different ways, in very different ways that we cannot acknowledge what the other is saying, or that we come from different layers. And these layers are the ones that will define, in many cases, our success or our failures. So as, for example, Kimberly Crenshaw said, women come from a whole range of backgrounds, as I was saying. And if our visions of peace don't include these differences, then our peace will be partial, which means that we should not rest until all the people, all the women are already have equal rights. And because it's something that it will affect us in one way or another if we are in touch with people who come from different backgrounds. And many times when I attend to this kind of conferences or talks, I always see the part or the question about how to be an ally. And in this case, I would like to do it in the other way around, how not to be an ally, because it's something that many times we don't focus on it. And I think it's important to talk a little bit about it. And of course, one thing, and that it's very, very important when someone explains to you a situation of racism, is that we tend to we try to listen carefully to what the person is saying, but in the end, we are not internalizing what the other person is saying, and we never acknowledge that that person is opening herself, in this case, in order to explain a situation that probably is really hard for her to explain. And many times, probably because our status quo is, or the way we learn is by trying to link what we know or what we know from our past with the inputs that we are already receiving at the present moment. We try to compare our experiences with the others. And I think this is a practice that it's very dangerous, because many times when we try to compare them, we are in the end trying to, how can I say it? We are trying to deny the experience of of the other person. And we should try also to avoid those questions about, oh, I feel very guilty about what you're explaining. What can I do in order to to make this a better world, or make this reduced, or these kind of questions of guilt, of feeling guilty because you've heard an experience that really touched you. Sometimes the only thing people have to do is just to listen and to educate themselves, not by asking someone, not by asking a Black woman, because we are not encyclopedias, and many of us, we have different perspectives about life, and we don't have the knowledge that many times people are asking. It's something that it's very important to point out, because sometimes it's very hard that people put on you all the responsibility to know everything about being a Black woman and trying to have your space and all these things. So sometimes we should be careful with the kind of questions that we are asking to our communities. And of course, we should try to avoid white savior complexes attitudes, in terms that there's always ways of helping, but in a way that you are not the host, or you're not like the guest star or the star of the movement or of the project, because many times these kind of projects where you're trying to help, the people that should be on the spot, the people that should have all the attention, are Black women in this case, instead of you who are trying to maybe promote their work or something. So maybe sometimes it's easier, or should be easier at least, to put our egos aside and try to help them in another way. So also, I would like to highlight some different people, from some different women, Black women, who have been working very hard in tech, and that sometimes they are acknowledged. At least nowadays, some of them, we know them well, and others, in some cases, not. So for example, we have Catherine Johnson, who had worked for NASA for different endeavors, and that for sure we all already know, and nowadays, because of the films that have been depicted, and many stories that we usually see, for example, for Black History Month, or International Women's Day. We also have Ursula Barnes, who is the first Black woman who was the CEO for a Forbes 500 company, in this case for Xerox. It's a person that started since the very beginning, I mean, just working as a developer, and little by little, she has been working hard in order to become a CEO. We have also Joy Bulamwini, who's a person for me, it's very inspirational because she's a person that makes us try to understand that there are biases that we should fight about, because it's something that in the end, as people of color, and especially if you are black skinned and a woman, you are suffering much more from those biases than other kind of communities. And I wanted, in the end, to highlight this person, Marie van Britten Brown, which is a person that maybe you don't know. It's a person that invented surveillance, cameras of surveillance, which is something that it's, for me, it really strikes me, because nowadays surveillance or the systems that are linked to surveillance are targeting Black people or targeting people of color, when in her first attempt, her intention was just to make sure that her home was safe. And after she developed her first camera for her home, some years later, there was a white man who just tried to brought out also the same kind of system. He acknowledged in his papers the work of Marie van Britten Brown, but the history only remembers the white man that invented surveillance, as we know it already now. And I would like also to highlight the kind of experiences that Black women can bring to the table. There are many things, and not only Black women, I would say people of color in general, that they can bring values. Of course, they can bring knowledge from their studies and from everything that they are working on. But in my case, I prioritize more values than knowledge, because with values you can go anywhere, and maybe with your studies not. So maybe when we have a Black woman in our teams, we should think that they bring perseverance. People from Black communities, and especially if they come from migrant backgrounds, have faced very tough moments in terms that they've been denied, as we have seen in the other talk about their possibilities to become engineers, for example, data scientists, or anything, or any other thing. And they have like a really big perseverance, because there's something that we call Black excellence, which is something that because you are Black, you have to work tougher. It's something that when you are a kid, your parents encourage you. They explain you that you have to always work harder than the rest, and that it's something that you should always take into account when you're trying to bring out a project. And of course, there's always in Black women the willingness of change. There's some, because we already know that the history and the society nowadays is not built for us. It's built for people who have been ruling for years, centuries, and decades, of course. And there's that, and then these women always think that there must something always that we can change in order that many more people who are always talked about as minorities, but in the end, if you see the globe, we are a majority, but in the end, we are also a majority that is silenced. There is always this willingness to make things better and to make more people eat at the table. And of course, Black women are full of resilience. There are many experiences, daily experiences, many times, where they always try their best to success, and that they try to learn from all those breakdowns that they had in the past. So one thing that is very important also to highlight is that we should find ways in order to include Black women in our teams. Sometimes one very special thing that we should talk about, it's that idea that of elite experience, or that if you are not from a certain university or you don't have certain studies, you cannot be part of a very big company or any other kind of endeavor. And of course, we should always think that for same qualifications, we should think that for same qualifications, there should be same opportunities of being interviewed. And of course, there's something that it doesn't come with the people, and it's something that sometimes the company has to push it a little bit, which is to create anti-racist teams. It's very difficult to make it because it's something that you have to fight against your privileges, against all those things that made you be where you are at the moment. But it's something that it's very necessary. And of course, it's something that it might be a little bit weird to say, but it's very important to diversify our network, in terms that if we look at the people who we are always in touch every day, we will see that most of our connections, they look similar to us. And probably if we see that in our company, there's a job offer that might be interesting, you probably recommend those people who are in your network, which means that probably the people who you are recommending are similar to you. And usually it's white people who are recommending white people. So one thing that I think it's easy to do is to try to approach people from other groups, from other communities, because maybe in the end, when you find another job offer that it's interesting, maybe you can approach the company to those people and make them open the door, or maybe not, but at least you make that effort, and you make human resources think about what they should do in order to include more people, include more Black women in this case. However, today I was talking about how to include diversity and inclusion into our teams. There's something that we should that we should highlight more than diversity, inclusion, and equity, which is the sense of belonging, because we cannot create new products, new technologies, and new lives if we don't feel like we are we really feel inside of those projects. So many times we see that there are Black women, or women in general, who are added to teams, but they are not feeling like those projects are made for them and by them. And with this sense of belonging, I think that companies and also the products that come out are more valuable. They are more, they have a better outcome. And for sure, we make sure that at least the releases of the new products that the company is launching, for example, we make sure that they are correct, that they are okay, and that they are okay for everyone just with the first release, and that we don't have to spend more releases of our products in order to make some changes or modifications in order that everyone feels represented. So I would like to thank you for your time, and just feel free to ask me any questions if you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your talk. It was really inspiring. Last but not least, Joe, the stage is yours. Please shine.
Hey guys, thank you. And all of these talks were like really amazing, and it makes you remember a lot of things. So yeah, so now the thing is, how should we change the scenario? What should we do? So we have a lot of goddess people over here, and they express interest in our Discord in sharing a bit about this. So Divishri, maybe you want to share your thoughts?
Yeah, hello. Hi,
Hey, hi,
everyone.
we can hear you.
Hi.
Yeah, that was a great session, and I felt really amazing to be a part of it. Got to learn a lot. Yeah, so regarding what can we do about women in tech, like how can we get equal opportunities? It's like first thing I feel is that to promote like equality and increasing women's representation, we can give them more senior roles that would even bridge the pay gap. Then another thing that many females face is that when they go for parental leaves and they come back to work, they feel quite lost. So being supportive and not underestimating their skill would be a significant boost. And then I feel like to have a like more robust culture, managers, co-workers, and even executives must constantly call out instances where a woman's hard work goes unnoticed. This could really encourage us in general, and we can like come out of the imposter syndrome. And as we all know, because of the historical suppression, it's hard to find many role models, many female role models. So we can like say the stories of Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD, Falguni Nair, the CEO of Nykaa, and Ankit Ivo, CEO of Zilingo. We should say the stories to more people so that people are aware and get inspired by them. That the STEM is for women as well. And one more thing that I'd like to add is that a constitution of board should be created to look after discriminations. That would be a great initiative, I feel.
Yeah, that's really nice. Thank you for sharing. Apni, do you have something to say?
Hello everyone, and first of all, a very happy belated International Women's Day. And
Same to
it
you.
was a pleasure hearing all our speakers, and I got to know about so many different domains and about each of the speakers' story was very unique. So like that itself is so empowering that itself is a today's session itself is a testimony why we need to promote more and more women into tech, because at the end we all as humans are stories, and we all have our unique stories, and we all deserve to be heard. And as any woman you are, be it like you choose any field, be it devrel or be it UI UX, be it business, be it fintech, be it anything, you are unique in your own way. Like I did read it somewhere. It's a quote by Osho that accept yourself as you are. Your life will not become a drag, it will become a fragrance. So that's what I truly believe in. And as a society, we need to accept the receptivity that women have, and also their ability to work, their ability to manage houses, manage their work. And it's like still we need to prove ourselves a lot in our society. Like Divya, she said that women do face a lot of problems when they reach C-level jobs. Women start, the number of stats start trickling down. So definitely we can increase it by promoting by having a watchdog board, something that ensures that the pay gaps, even the period leaves that are being introduced in so many companies, and the sanitation environment for women is really conducive. So all I want to say that if you are a woman, and if you are from like be it from any race or any gender you identify yourself with, it is very essential for you to speak for yourself, because you matter. And no matter, even if you're not from the majority, women in tech still are not in majority, yet they deserve to be heard because they are unique in their own ways. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. That was lovely. Also, I think last but not the least, Urvisha, are you there? Maybe you also wanted to share something?
Yeah, so hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So first of all, it's once lovely to listen from all these amazing speakers, and it's like my pleasure to be part of this community here. So first of all, everyone hearing the talk about women in tech, women in tech, I was just like thinking that why not men in tech? So I was researching about it, and then I found that in mid 80s or 90s, when the personal computers arrived to the market, people will generally buy one for their boy child, even if there are four or more girl child in their home. So, don't you think that this is directly linked with the denied education for girls? So, I think that there is a need to bridge this gap, especially in technology. Technology is demanding women. I have heard of several projects which fail because they lack women in their team. It feels so disheartening when I listen my male friends saying that, oh, she was a girl, that's why she got selected. So, but I think that's not exactly what they think. Even we require hard work, dedication, and consistency. And women will not remain bounded with designing, painting, and fashion stuff. They are excelling in technology, and they definitely will. So, talking about my experience in technology was good. So, wherever I work, like in urban or soft tech, I got good support from everyone, from my manager, my buddy. So, what I am thinking that the mindset of the people has started changing, and women in tech has a very strong network, as we can say it today. And so, it's time to break the bias and prove the people right who trusted us. It's time to be the real superwomen by arriving to the most efficient solutions of the problems. And let's just stop criticizing each other and let's start supporting each other. Let's break the bias. Let's make this world a better workplace, and let's just start focusing on ourselves. Thanks a lot.
Exactly. So I wanted to, they when they expressed their interest in speaking about how we can improve the situation, I was like, four opinions are better than one. So yeah, I'm lucky to be born in a family that doesn't discriminate, and even they value girls over boys, which is really amazing. But once you step out in your school or in your college, you experience some sort of microaggressions, and that is okay. I mean, and people might say that success is the greatest revenge. Go get that job, do well in that job, win awards in that job, but you cannot win awards in a job that does not exist for you. As simple as that. So, if a job is not there for you, if it doesn't exist for you, you won't climb that ladder. So, I think what we could do over here is it all starts very early. In my class, in my school, I remember we had like 35 uh, boys and 5 girls in the STEM class. And that is a very staggering ratio. So I think it all crinkles down to lower levels of the society. That is when we start our school then. But since we are talking about tech, I would say that a gender inclusive space wouldn't hurt anyone, and a gender inclusive like hiring process is one that we should look forward to. I definitely don't sit for processes where I know that they might judge according to the gender. They might do that. But yeah, I look for places. I'm lucky to be working with Jina, where they're very open about promoting more women in tech, asking us to create awesome things daily. And that is something I really like. Plus, in open source also, I found these spaces where talking to other people, like these events like these, connecting with other women in tech, helps you realize what you are actually experiencing is not something that others do not experience. So I guess networking with good people, networking with people who are like you, people who might face situations like you, because if you connect with them, if they find a way to get out of that situation, you will find too eventually. And so, yeah, being surrounded by just good people, supporters. And I think that is the key over here. And yeah, I think all your ideas were really, really amazing. And thank you all for sharing so much. All the stories were inspiring. I don't know how many notes I made, but yeah, that was something really heartfelt.
Thank you so much for this talk. I believe, Joy, you covered everything, all of the summaries from the talks above, and thank you so much for encouraging Chorus Cafe to give their own opinion on the topic. Now, I would encourage all of you to turn on your camera and let's take a group photo so we all remember this moment. And let's hope that soon we'll have an opportunity to have a talk like this again. If you are up for it, just vote in our questionnaire that is going to be next. Okay, please. Let's wait 2-3 seconds. Amazing. Okay, I'm taking a screenshot. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Women in STEM.
Smile. Amazing. Thank you so much for this, for your time. Thank you so much for all of your insights. It was a big pleasure to meet you all. And I hope for the future collaborations, and let's keep in touch. Let's fight together.
Great job, Sophia.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Let's keep a chat for another 2-3 seconds so everyone can share their links. And if you shared everything what you wanted to share, then 1, 2, 3. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.